Lots of gaming news to go over, including big updates from Bethesda. We got leaks about the next Assassin's Creed game and way more. So good at joining the Sunday news roundup. And let's go. Let's start with huge updates from Bethesda Game Studios. For one, they revealed that Fallout 5 is now in pre-production and that the game is the long-term destination for the franchise. So it's probably still ways off, 2031, maybe 2032. Because the team is of course focused right now on the Elder Scrolls 6. Regarding that game, they say that they are where they plan to be, loving how it looks and playing it every day. Todd Howard also revealed in interviews that they want to start talking about the game only once they're actually close to launch, similar to what they did with Fallout 4, and you can count Starfield in a way as well, when they of course did their full blowout during the Xbox showcase and then it launched a few months later. If I had to guess, Elder Scrolls 6 is probably 2028, although 2029 seems more likely. Bethesda Game Studios will now also get help from the Elder Scrolls Online team, although we learned of course last week that they lost around half of its developers. So they're now also helping, probably with Elder Scrolls 6, maybe they're doing like a region in the game or a DLC, which really means there's not a lot of people left working on the Elder Scrolls Online. Going back to Fallout, because Bethesda has a lot planned for before Fallout 5. Fallout 76 is getting a brand new expansion next year that serves as a prequel to Fallout 3. Maybe that's to coincide with the release of the Fallout 3 remaster, because yes, both a Fallout 3 remastered and a Fallout New Vegas remastered have been confirmed. And if they do the Oblivion remastered approach, then it will likely be more than just a graphical upgrade, and I would not be surprised if they shadow drop these as well. Also the rumors that Obsidian, the studio behind Fallout New Vegas, and of course most recently The Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, is working on a brand new Fallout game have now been confirmed. Bethesda Game Studios, Todd Howard will still help with that project, but it will be mostly made at Obsidian. I think this will launch way before Fallout 5, although there's no word on which engine that game will use. Fallout 5 and the Elder Scrolls 6 will both use a new iteration of Bethesda's creation engine, so the one that most recently was used by Starfield, but Obsidian develops its games on Unreal Engine. And with them not wanting to talk about it, I think they might simply stick with Unreal Engine for this new Obsidian Fallout game. They mentioned Starfield, and well, to my surprise, they will continue to support that game, with new Starborn content planned for 2027, potentially meaning another expansion. Maybe that was already really far along, so like cancelling it would not have been beneficial. But I really thought with their focus on Fallout and Elder Scrolls that Starfield would be over, but that's not the case. They are probably announcing all this to shift the spotlight away from the awful layoffs they had a couple of weeks ago. And honestly, it's sad that it took a new Xbox CEO for Bethesda to finally make a long-term commitment to arguably its biggest franchise, Fallout, especially after the huge success of the TV show. If they'd done that earlier, things might have looked way different. But yeah, it seems like we're getting a new Fallout release every year now, starting in 2027. Moving on, we now have reports suggesting that what I talked about in last week's Sunday video is actually happening. The PlayStation disc backlash is upsetting third-party publishers because the comments under everything PlayStation posts on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube are all about Sony's decision to stop printing physical discs for new games starting in 2028. So a marketing deal with PlayStation becomes far less valuable if your game gets caught in that backlash, because that's not going to help the game you're trying to promote. And also this week Wolverine dropped a new CGI trailer, and the comments are all about Sony's decision to remove the physical discs. And we might see next level uproar this coming week during San Diego Comic-Con, because there will be a Wolverine panel and a God of War Laufey panel. Now that would of course suck for the people hosting those presentations that didn't have anything to do with the decisions that PlayStation made, but it is a way for fans who don't want Sony to stop printing discs to get their voices also be heard in a offline setting. So, curious if something will happen. I'll of course keep you up to date here. Now let's move on to more gaming news. Leave a like, that would really help me out, and subscribe, because I post one of these big gaming news roundup videos every Sunday. Time for quick shots, news stories I will go over quickly. With the KOTOR remake is the live. I got Black Flag Resynced sales updates and that new From Software game. I think I know the release date. But let's start with GTA 6. We got analytics firm Newzoo saying that it had the strongest pre-order campaign on record and that the game is on track to sell 37 to 51 million units in its first week. Which is crazy, but for comparison, Red Dead Redemption 2 outsold Red Dead Redemption 1 in just 12 days, and by that point RDR1 had sold 15 million units. So RDR2 already coming close to 20 million makes 37 not seem that crazy, although if you think about the fact that there are around 100 million like PS5s out there and more than 30 million Xbox Series consoles, like I could see maybe 33% of those players buying GTA 6, but even half of that would already be wild, so there will be a ceiling. And remember that we've only seen around 4 minutes of footage without any real gameplay. I'm curious when that will change. I'll of course keep you up to date here on everything GTA 6. Remember the Knights of the Old Republic remake? Well, this RPG was announced as a PlayStation console exclusive, but Sony dropped out of the agreement. The game is still alive though, and it seems like it's planned for 2028, as a new executive at Saber Interactive shared a LinkedIn post that he quickly removed, but it was captured by PC Gamer, and the post said that Space Marine 3, the new John Wick game, and hopefully the KOTOR remake and a few unannounced titles are all planned for 2028. A pretty sick lineup indeed, and one of the main reasons why Saber is succeeding in such a big way and getting a ton of licenses like John Wick is because they are able to keep the cost of these games down by developing them in regions where labor is much cheaper while the quality of developers is just as high. So while many companies are struggling, Saber is doing really well, and they believe that they got the future of AAA gaming. Basically, don't make them in cost-heavy regions like the US. Ubisoft also finally got a win with Black Flag Resynced. They announced that it now sold 3 million copies in the first week. It also had the biggest Steam launch in the franchise, significantly outperforming Shadows according to Alinea Analytics. This week I was able to interview the game director on the game, so check out that full interview if you are curious via the link in the video description. He confirmed that New Game Plus is coming and that the team has ideas to expand Edward's story through DLC. So it seems like the lead developer Ubisoft Singapore would love to make more Black Flag Resynced content, but we will have to wait and see if higher ups at Ubisoft give them the green light to do it. Let me know if you're enjoying the game in the comments down below. We actually got some new Hexe leaks in the rumor roundup coming up in a second. Sometimes you forget that From Software is still planning to launch a brand new game this year to keep their yearly streak going. Last year they had Night Rain, the year before they had the Shadow of the Earth tree, the year before they had Armored Core, the year before they had Elden Ring, and this year they plan to launch The Duskbloods, a Switch 2 exclusive that we've only seen one real trailer of so far. But that will change soon, because from August 21st until the 23rd, they will be holding a network test, and you can sign up now. And I did some calculations, because both the network test for the original Elden Ring and Night Rain took place 105 days before launch, which would put the release date for the Duskbloods on December 4th. You heard it here first. This is of course a PvPvE game, but again, not much else is known. I really think this could be a big system seller for the Switch 2 though, reaching a wider audience than Nintendo's own games can. Curious to see what it looks like. Let me know if you're signing up and playing in the comments down below. Also, Ryan Hurst is going to be recast as Kratos for the Amazon Prime show after suffering an injury on set. According to Deadline, he tore his bicep and is now recovering, and that recovery is expected to take around 4 to 6 months, while returning to full strength could take up to a year. So yeah, really sad for him as he worked hard for months to prepare for this role. But yeah, production has to continue, so they're now looking for someone else, and they're aiming to resume in mid-October. So the release date is probably being pushed back as well. This TV show has never been at the top of my most anticipated list, but the source material is of course amazing, and if they can, just like with The Last of Us, add to that already fantastic world, then it could end up being really interesting. But let me know what you think in the comments. In the rumor roundup, I look at the biggest leaks and rumors of the week and rate them with stars. 3 meaning I believe it, and 1 means let's take this with a huge grain of salt. First, a quick update on last week's Ghost Recon Wildlands rumor. It now seems like a major update is also coming that will include a new mission and 4K 60fps gameplay on current-gen consoles. This was briefly posted on the Xbox dashboard. The rumor was that it would launch in August, so I totally think it will be happening. I already gave 3 stars last week and I'm sticking with that. But in terms of big new game releases, the interesting part is that after Black Flag Resynced, the next big Ubisoft game will likely be Assassin's Creed Hexe, We know the new Ghost Recon is having some issues, so I assume that game will launch later than June 2027, because that's the current rumored release window for this more linear Assassin's Creed game set in Germany. Ubisoft leaker and data miner RogueTX has now shared several new findings. For one, they found references to an expansion set in Würzburg and a Coven Shadows pack. Würzburg is a city in Germany that played a major role during the German Peasants' War of 1524 and 1525, the largest popular uprising before the French Revolution, so maybe that event will be part of the game. Rogue also shared the description of a potential pre-order mission: uncover a dark trial within the deep forest of Taubertal, recover a powerful ISO-linked artifact before the witch hunters can claim it. Taubertal, and I hope I pronounced that right, is another region in southern Germany, so it's very likely going to appear in the game as well. And yes, they also mention an ISO artifact. Of course, not exactly surprising, but with Shadows launching without any ISO storyline, it's at least nice to know that Hexe will seemingly dive back into that lore. Rogue also shared more general information, but this is where I would not be surprised if some of it is outdated, because there's a leaked $120 edition, probably an Ultimate Edition, but Ubisoft doesn't do those anymore. They did them with Outlaws and Shadows, then Outlaws bombed and they removed it for Shadows. Black Flag, for example, only has a deluxe edition that is $10 more than the standard edition, so I'm overall giving this 2 stars. I think the locations and the description of that mission are probably real, but those are not the sort of details you can easily change. But I do think the pricing and editions will probably be different. That June 2027 release window originally comes from Tom Henderson though, and that would mark a major shift for Ubisoft if they now start launching all the big Assassin's Creed games in the summer instead of the fall. I mean, it's clearly working for Black Flag Resynced, so maybe this is like actually smart. What also makes June interesting is that the actress behind Kassandra recently shared new facial and body capture photos from what appears to be in Montreal, saying this was a very good June. More on this June next year. Again, June next year is the rumored release window for Hexe. Interestingly, both the actors behind Bayek and Eivor like that post, while from what I've seen they usually don't interact with her other posts. 2027 also marks the 20th anniversary of Assassin's Creed, so maybe that has something to do with it. Of course, let me know your theories in the comments down below. So this coming week, the new Avatar fighting game launches, Avatar Legends, and it actually looks pretty good. We also get new information on Wolverine and God of War Laufey during their Comic-Con panels. Maybe more stuff will happen there, we will see. And PlayStation Plus Premium and extra subscribers will be getting Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Rise of the Ronin, and the original Dying Light as some of the biggest additions. I'll be live with my weekly news stream on Wednesday. You will find a link in the video description. Hope to see you there. And of course, I will have another Sunday news roundup like this at the end of the week and other content. So subscribe, leave a like, and I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.